Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe is scheduled to engage in a visit to India on the 19th and the 20th. The Hindu reported that the Premier will hold talks with his counterpart Narendra Modi.
The Hindu reports that from the Indian perspective, priority projects in the island include the Matala Airport near the China-controlled port in the southern Hambantota district, the Palali Airport in Jaffna in the northern province, the Trincomalee oil tank farm in the East Container Terminal at the Colombo port, and a LNG plant in Keravalapitia, north of Colombo. It says despite bilateral discussions and joint agreements on development cooperation and commercial partnership, none of the projects have taken off the way it was envisaged. However, over the last few months, New Delhi and Colombo have put out conflicting messages on the Matala Airport, sparking speculation on whether India's interests to run it would actually materialize. Colombo-based officials who spoke to the Hindu newspaper on condition of anonymity said that the delay was due to political reasons in some cases and bureaucratic issues in others. The Hindu says that upcoming discussions may help accelerate the projects on both sides. What is the motive behind Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe's visit to India? According to the Hindu report, agreements will be reached to accelerate the slow-paced India-aided projects on the island. What power does the Prime Minister have to reach into such agreements? He is neither the leader of the state nor the head of government, or indeed the Cabinet of Ministers. The Prime Minister holds the portfolio of Minister of National Policies and Economic Affairs. He does not have the authority to reach into agreements for and on behalf of the country. Neither the citizens of this country, the President, nor the Cabinet of Ministers have vested the Prime Minister with the power of making such decisions. It is evident that Ranil Wickremesinghe changed the system on a number of occasions to fulfill his own requirements. Many of these situations where the system was changed by the Prime Minister ended up as corrupt activities. When the government came into power in 2015, the Prime Minister took over the central bank, which was under the Ministry of Finance. A few days later, Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe, in spite of disapproval from the President and the Cabinet of Ministers, appointed his close associate Arjuna Mahendran as the Governor of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka. The central bank bond scam took place following the appointment of the new governor after the system was changed by the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister had issued instructions to change the system of issuing bonds to a completely auction-based system without consulting the Monetary Board of the Central Bank. This led to the first central bank bond scam in 2015 and the second bond scam in 2016. The Prime Minister also appointed a Cabinet Committee on Economic Management with a group of ministers and a few other close officials deviating from the due procedure. Large-scale projects were presented to the Cabinet of Ministers through this committee, and the current state of Sri Lankan Airlines is a good example of the fate the committee creates. The Sri Lanka-Singapore Free Trade signed with the Prime Minister's friend Malik Samaravikrama is also a good example of deviating from due procedure. Minister Malik Samaravikrama finally admitted that the general public were not fully aware of the Sri Lanka-Singapore Free Trade Agreement. What is the Prime Minister, who has taken decisions that are unhealthy to the country, now expecting to do with India?
What type of agreements will he sign now? All the agreements signed, especially with Solheim, ruined the country. You signed the Singapore Agreement and the people of this country didn't know. The Parliament didn't know. After everything happened, Malik Samaravikrama apologized. Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe, there is no point in apologizing after signing all the agreements because you will only be here for a few months. Prime Minister admitted in Parliament that it was he who instructed to move to another system with regard to the bond scam. He took up the responsibility. Then later he signed the Singapore Agreement. It was discussed in several platforms that this agreement has a negative impact on Sri Lanka. Thereafter, they hand over the Hambantota port to China, the Matala Airport to India. Then they go to India and say that they signed another agreement. What is the Prime Minister now trying to sell to India?